Woo. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Extra Innings Podcast. I am your host, Elijah Rodriguez, and we're back today. Another episode after yesterday's Game 2 between the Yankees and the Guardians. Today, that's a travel day for them. Today, we have only one game today. We've got the Mets-Dodgers Game 3. So we're going to break down, kind of give a preview of that series happening today, and then obviously break down the game from yesterday. So we're just going to get into it, man. We're going to get into it. So yesterday, the Yankees beat the Guardians 3-6. I'm sorry, 6-3. I guess is the right way to say it. Again, very, very underwhelming from the Guardians. Right out the gate, I know the right fielder. I think Brennan had a great play in the outfield. Again, really sloppy play, really sloppy pitching. Just again, very underwhelming for the Guardians yesterday. And like I said, from the first inning, the Yankees had full control. There was never a point. Well, there were a couple pieces, and we'll get into it. Everyone says the Judge has woken up. I mean, he had one hit. It was a home run. I mean, I'm not convinced that he's woken up, but the rest of the lineup, I mean, freaking Gleyber Torres, 3 hits. Soto got a hit. Judge got a hit, a home run. Wells, 0 for 4, but much better at bats. Stanton 0 for 4, but again, he can have an 0 for game. He's been clutch in pretty much all his at-bats before that. Chisholm got a hit, got a double yesterday. Volpe 2 hits. Rizzo 2 hits with the broken fingers. Like, my God. Verdugo with a hit. So the Yankees as a whole are looking really strong. And this is the team that we've hoped they would be all the way through. This is who the Yankees are supposed to be playing like, although all year they've had their ups and downs. I mean, they're human after all. They're going to have that. It's inevitable. But this is the Yankee team that we've all been kind of waiting for. Obviously, they showed glimpses and pieces of it all year. Started off like this, really hot, but here we are. For the Indians, for the Guardians, I always want to call them Indians because deep down, that's what they are. This Guardian shit annoys the fuck out of me. You got Steven Kwan, 1 hit, Mazzardo a hit, Ramirez got a hit. It was a home run in the 9th inning off of Luke Weaver. Josh Naylor 2 for 4. Thomas 1 for 3. Brendan 0 for 4. Jimenez 0 for 2 with 2 walks. Bo Naylor is just really struggling, man. He is batting a fucking 0. They gave a pinch hit to Fry later in the game. Put Hedges in there, who Hedges also went 0 for 2. He's strictly a defensive guy. I'm not really, I wasn't going to expect much from him at the plate. And then you got Rocchio, however you pronounce the name. I've heard it pronounced multiple different ways. I think Rocchio is the right way. 2 for 4. Though had a brutal fucking error in the first inning on a pop fly that really would have probably shifted the whole trajectory of the game. But yeah, let's get into it. Pitching wise, so obviously Garrett Cole started for the Yankees yesterday. Cole looked good. Cole looked really good. I have no qualms with his start. I will say he was strong through 3. Into the 4th, even in the 3rd, I think he got into some issues. He loaded the bases twice in 2 consecutive innings. I think that was the 3rd and 4th. And they brought in Clay Holmes pretty early, honestly, in the 5th inning. But yeah, Cole was good till he wasn't. I think that's the best way to put it. He was good till he wasn't. He was good for the 3 innings. Like I said, he was solid. He put himself in a jam, got himself out of it, put himself back in the jam. And I think Boone just didn't have the confidence. And honestly, watching him pitch, he was missing with pitches that he shouldn't have been missing with. He was all over the place with his fastball, could not locate the curveball. And it looked it's funny that, kind of going back, Carlos Rodon was like, I need to take notes from Garrett Cole about, his poker face and he get better at poker. Garrett Cole is an emotional pitcher. It's just not like flamboyant. It's not very like arrogant, but you can read him very well on how he's feeling. If you go back to the time when he wanted to walk, what was the guy from the Red Sox? Oh my God, Devers, because Devers has just been his absolute nightmare. And the whole thing with when he wanted to walk Devers instead of pitch to him, you kind of look and you're like, man, that's a loud ass plane. He is a very emotional pitcher. However you want to split it, however you want to say it, he is a very emotional pitcher. You can read it on his face. It's not like the arms in the air. It's his face, and his body language is very telling. So there were points like where you could tell that he was very unsure of himself. And in that 3rd and 4th inning, you could tell he couldn't locate. You can see his language. He wasn't even sure what was going on or how to fix it. And I think and when you go to that same, did it in the third, got yourself out of it. When you go into it in the same situation, load the bases in the fourth, and at that point, it's like, hey man, we got to pull you. Like your pitch count's already above the mid range, the middle over 50. You're unsure. Let's get you out of there before this game, because for a while the game was close. It was 3-0, then it was 3-1, then it was 3-2, and then the Yankees kind of busted it out. But here's what I'll say: Clay Holmes came in, did well through 2 outs, and you got Hill who came in and did his job for 1 2/3. Canely came in, did well, and then Luke Weaver. I think that's the first time I've seen Luke Weaver get kind of pieced. Honestly, like Ramirez, he just threw a fastball right down the dick, and Ramirez just did miss it. Happens. I was thinking, honestly, they've used him so much that I thought maybe he gets the night off. Maybe we ride it with Conley all the way through, but they didn't. They gave it to Weaver. Obviously, they got a travel day today, so Weaver will probably have the night. I'm assuming they're going to give him tomorrow off. I would hope that they could. I think they got Schmidt going tomorrow. Clark Schmidt will be throwing tomorrow, so hopefully he can go late, and we can rely on a little bit of Conley, maybe some Hill, maybe some Holmes. I know they got Poteet in the bullpen. They've got Marcus Stroman in the bullpen. So maybe those are pieces. I think Stroman's probably going to be a long relief guy, considering he was a starter all year. But it's going to be interesting how they run that. Now, going on to the Guardian side, the defense, it just looks like they've never fucking played baseball before. I'm just very underwhelmed with the Guardians. And I know they're not a great hitting team, but because the pitching is their strength, it has been all year. They have yet to use Class A. Is he ever going to get the pitch? Because obviously he's a closer. The 8th inning, maybe 9th inning for sure. They have not been in a position to use him in the past 2 games. Will he get the pitch? I don't know. At some point, I feel like you better throw him in there in the 5th, 4th, 5th inning to get you like 3 solid innings to kind of hold you in there. But we have not really seen a lot from these guys. They threw, holy shit, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pitches yesterday, including their starter, Bibby, however you pronounce his name. I think he did okay. The Yankees were just on him, man. The Yankees were just on his shit the whole game. He only threw 1 in the 3rd. First inning, obviously the defense didn't do him any favors. He would have got out of there with no runs in the first inning. I think that kind of shifted the trajectory in that regard. But the Yankees were just on his shit the whole game. They were not missing. If he threw it in the strike zone, they were on it. Whether it was a foul ball or they were hitting it, they were on it. They went to Smith. Smith did okay. Herron did okay. Morgan did okay. But again, it's like the big fly from Gaddis from Judge in the later innings. Like it was really just the errors, the defense, the walks. There was 1, 2, 3 walks. Okay, maybe not the walks, but like strikeouts, only 7 hits. They give up 11 hits amongst all these guys. 11 hits is not good when you only give up and you've only gotten 8. They just got beat, man. A lot of errors. Rocchio had an error. Brennan had an error fielding. I mean, and that's not even including they had so many opportunities. And speaking as a Yankee fan, I'm just gonna be straight with you. They had so many fucking opportunities to turn this game on its head. I was watching the post-game conference with Vaught, and he said it. There were so many moments in that game where the momentum was on their side. They had an inning where Jazz Chisholm gets picked off, where Rizzo gets picked off, and they still didn't capitalize and make the big pitch to get out of those innings. They still gave up a run in that inning. Stuff like that. The error in the first, the error with the fielding from Brennan and Wright, like all that stuff adds up, man. You can't, especially like when you're playing a team as good as the Yankees, you have to be near perfect. They're not going to make the same mistakes that a lower class club like this is going to make. Granted, they have in the past, but I feel like the Yankee team has really turned it on. They've really put on this like we're the fucking guys with the New York Yankees. We want to go to the show. We want to go to the big dance. Like this is the team, man. You played them already one game and saw that you can feel that aura about them. So that means you got to bring it as well. And they seem to almost like they're cowering, like they don't quite know what they're doing. And that's going to hurt them. They had bases loaded in 2 consecutive innings and didn't play any runs. I think they played 1 in those two situations. Like how many did they leave on base? I have to see this. They left 11 runners on base. Like that just can't happen. You can't expect to win a playoff game leaving 11 guys on the bags. It's not going to work. So I don't know, man. I mean, it's tough. It's tough. I'm just very underwhelmed. You got Bo Naylor, who hasn't got a hit in the entirety of the postseason. He's 0 for fucking I don't know how many. And his catching is egregious. It's not very good. Which is why they're going to probably go. I would be surprised if they don't start Wells they don't start Hedges the rest of the season. Honestly, the rest of the series. It's tough. It's really tough, man. I mean, Hedges is batting 0, but I feel like he's giving a little bit more of a competitive at bat at this point. I mean, but yeah. So interesting enough. But the game last night, like I said, this will probably be a quick episode. There wasn't a whole lot to break down. The Yankees dominated from start to finish. Lots of hits. Kind of talking about Judge. I know Judge everyone's kind of been waiting for Judge to kind of bump out of this like weird. It's not really a slump. I mean, it's a slump. I mean, let me be honest. It's a slump. He got hit the home run in the late innings that was kind of like just kind of carried out. I think when he hit it off the bat, I thought it was a pop up, and obviously the center fielder was kind of floating out there, and that creates a little bit of a different kind of like, is it going to go? Is it not? And it did. It ended up in dead center. I still feel a little shaky. And I'm not even the one that felt that way. I honestly, and this has been a big talked about thing. They walked. There was a situation, I think it was in the first or second, when it really could have busted this thing out wide open. They walked Juan Soto on 4, intentionally walked Soto to pitch to Judge. And a lot of people have kind of been like, are you like, I know there's a clip where you saw Anthony Volpe and they got like, are you serious? Like, you really gonna do this? If I'm Vot, I'm doing it. Soto's batting 350 with a 1 OPS right now in the postseason. And Aaron Judge was batting, I think at that point, maybe like 100 with like a 6 OPS, like a 600 OPS. Like, take your chances. The dude's not hot. Juan Soto's hot. And like everyone's kind of like, why would you do that? Why would you? A big mistake to pitch to Judge. I would have rather pitched to Judge in that situation, honestly. I'm being dead ass. I would have done the same thing in that same exact situation. Play your odds, play the matchup. Judge is nowhere to be found. And I think he ended up just hitting a sac fly, which, again, kind of a mid-case scenario for the Guardians in that situation. Kind of like a mid. I mean, obviously the worst thing, he hits a double and clears them. Best case scenario, he strikes out or rolls into a double play. Those are kind of best case scenarios. But even then, it wasn't like he did really much damage. It gave him 1 run. The game was still well within reach at that point. I think it was like 2 or 3-0. So like I said, it's at the same point. I mean, it's like, I don't know if he's technically woken up by any means, but better at bats. I know Wells is another guy that, I talked about yesterday about, maybe moving him down in the lineup, maybe even giving Trevino a shot in there. He did take a ball off the bicep, which was a little worrisome, but a fucking hell of a block on a Clay Holmes sweeper curveball thing that he throws. Looks like a slider, but it's really a sweeper curve. Great play there. Obviously, like, and that's what I'm saying, guys. Like, plays like that when it matters, when you got runners on first or second and third in a close game, 3-0 game, and you got guys selling out and doing that. One on the other side, you got guys dropping pop-ups, can't field the ball. I mean, that's a winning difference all the way. No questions asked. That's a winning team versus a team that's just kind of happy to be here. But yeah, in all honesty, I was watching Chris Russo this morning on MLB Network. I mean, this series is, I think, morally, even them going back to Cleveland. I think, like I said, when I first previewed this series, I thought maybe Cleveland takes 1 in Cleveland. But and every team's goal when you're starting off the series away, you want to take 1 from them at home. That's like the going into enemy territory, especially in the Bronx. You want to take 1 from them. They didn't even show up. Like, I don't even, watching this team play, I'm kind of like, how the fuck did y'all get here? It's very disappointing. I mean, as a Guardian fan, I'm very disappointed in this ball club. Maybe the day off fixes some things. Maybe they feel better at home. By stat wise, they do play better at home. But we're gonna see, man, because this Yankee team is just on one. So it'll be interesting. I think the probables for Thursday are going to be Clark Schmidt. They haven't made an announcement yet. I know the Yankees obviously are kind of in a better position here with their starting pitching. I know that if they make it to a game 5 or game 4, I'm sorry. Yeah, there'll be a game 4 no matter what. It's going to be Heel, who a little worrisome because he hasn't pitched and started a game in quite some time. But we're going to see. Schmidt obviously came back, I think in September. He was hurt for a while. Pitched well, 3.86 ERA, not bad in his previous start in the postseason. So confidence there. I like it. I'm good with Clark Schmidt. No issues there. We're going to have to wait and see who they're going to go with. But again, oh, man, this really seems, and like I know I'm lackluster because I just like to see a good series, man. I like to see a good ball game. So that's kind of where it's disappointing. It's like if you're going to get steamrolled, well, what's the fucking point, right? But that's kind of where I like the sighing and the disappointing comes because I wanted to see the Yankees get tested. I think to this point they've been a really strong team. Kansas City didn't really test them at all. There were some pieces. I think they lost one game to Kansas City, and it was because of just shit play by the Yankees. It wasn't because they truly got beat because they weren't the better team. I'm just waiting, and that's why I'm kind of excited for this World Series, because whoever makes it to the World Series on the other side, they're going to give the Yankees a run for their money either way. So it'll be interesting. But right now, I don't see Cleveland really doing much. They're not a strong hitting club. Their strength is in that bullpen, is a little bit within their starting pitching, but mostly in the bullpen. And if they're not going to make big hits, when the Yankees literally give it to them, giving them situations where they can actually do some serious damage. Because think about it. There's 2 innings with bases jammed, Garrett Cole unsure of himself, and you let him off the hook twice. Like, hit a double, get 2 or 3, and it's a tie game in the ninth, 6-6. You even maybe win it with that home run off of Luke Weaver. So, it's a different ball game, whole different game. I'm just playing devil's advocate. Obviously, wouldn't want that to happen, but just playing devil's advocate. So, be interesting to see. The next game with the Yankees and Guardians is on Thursday. It's a travel day today. Like I said, we got Clark Schmidt on the bump for the Yanks on Thursday. Maybe a bullpen day for the Guardians. I don't know. We're going to have to see. I wish I could show you this. There's nothing on the Guardians. They've announced 0. So, I don't know. But now, talking about the Dodgers and Mets, game 3 tonight at, what time is that one at? 8 o'clock, so 7 o'clock Central Time, 6 o'clock Pacific Time, and then 8 o'clock Eastern Time. So I found this article because I've kind of been going back and forth on what exactly is going to happen here. And I found an article. It's on MLB by Will Leach. I like Will Leach here. He has some good shit. And I kind of wanted to just discuss, because he's got 5 points, 5 key pieces to the game tonight. Kind of helps the discussion a little bit. Obviously, it's been kind of a back and forth right now. Game 1 started off terrible. Game 1 started off terrible for the Mets. Game 2 started off terrible for the Dodgers. So we're 1-1 here. I think both teams are kind of feeling like the momentum might be on their side, like they're ready to come in and do some fucking damage. So that's going to make it really exciting. But the first point that he brought up is, what can the Dodgers get out of Buehler? Because you got Buehler starting for the Dodgers, and you've got Severino starting for the Mets. Severino's been fucking awesome this year. Walker Buehler has not been himself for quite some time. He's been hurt. I think he's had a lot of arm issues. Obviously, the bullpen thing didn't work out for them this game too. Yeah. But Buehler, I really don't know why. And again, maybe it's just to stretch the rest time for Yamamoto, because obviously Yamamoto's throwing game 4, and kind of just giving that kind of a breather maybe. But I'm not sure of much for Walker Buehler, and I hate to say that, because he has been, 19, 20, 21. He was fucking lights out. He was he had a fucking presence on the mound. And all the issues coming back from Tommy John. Let's see. After coming back from Tommy John, he's 1-6 with a 5.38 over 16 starts, looking really nothing like the Walker Buehler that we all fell in love with. Padres, roughed him up for 6 in the second inning. He stuck out. Okay, here's the thing. It was one big inning. I will say this. Everyone's kind of been like, oh my God, Walker Buehler's not the same. Okay, he had one bad inning. It happens. And then stuck it out he lasted 5. Didn't give up much after that, but it was like they were very grindy innings. It didn't feel like he ever was comfortable. It didn't feel like he was really like, there was no presence, I guess is the best way to say it. I think he gave up 7 hits and didn't have not a single strikeout. Well, that is okay, but here we go. Here's one other thing. The Padres were a good hitting team. The Mets are streaky. They got Lindor, Nimmo. They got Alonso, which I think you can easily pitch around Alonso. He's a great hitter, but he's easy to pitch to. Just work him in and out, work the breaking stuff. He's not one of those guys that can really lay off a good breaker. So there's more holes in the Mets lineup, I think, than there were in the Padres. I think the Padres just got beat. I think the Padres were a good club, and I think that they're a much better hitting team than the Mets. I think the Mets have a better starting pitching rotation. I think they got a better bullpen. They got Edwin Diaz. So they've got great guys in that pen that really solidify that. But I think the issue with that was, going back to the Padres, or Buehler's last start against the Padres, that's what hurt. So I think, the biggest piece is like what's the leash on Bueller and what are you going to get out of him? I think realistically, you're hoping for 4 to 5, 4 to 5 strong innings, maybe giving up 2 to 3 runs, I think at the most, keeping it within reach because the Dodgers can produce runs. That's no question, but it's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be interesting to see. Yeah, that's going to be tough. So again, Bueller playing a big role here. You're expecting a lot. I think everyone who's a Dodgers fan or watching this knows that Bueller is a key piece to this and how long he can go. Can he do it? He doesn't have that same life on his fastball that he had in the upper 90s. He's sitting around 94 to 96. That can't play up anymore. You're not going to really blow people's doors off with that. So he's got to pitch smart, keep the ball low, and it's going to be an intricate piece to it. So we're going to see really where he lies, because we know Severino's going to come out and pitch well. There's no question, or at least compete. Let's see. Will Lindor set the stage? Okay, guys, that's okay. He started off the game hardcore. I don't think that's okay. I like Will Leach, but this is a reach. Is he going to set the stage again? So he hits a home run one time to start it off Brazier. Whatever, man. I don't think that's a key piece. I think the whole lineup's going to have to come through. It doesn't just rely just on Lindor. Lindor is great, and that did set the tone for the game. But again, it wasn't like the game was over. It's one run. Look at the Dodgers. The Dodgers aren't a team that's easily deflated. They have a big ego. Well, they can. They're the fucking Dodgers. 700. They got Shohei Ohtani, all these great guys. They can have a little bit of an ego. And again, the only reason I think it's a little bit different is because they are playing in New York. They are playing at Citi Field in Queens, so the environment will be a little bit different. But then again, this isn't the Guardians. They're not going to be easily flustered. It's the fucking Dodgers. So we're going to see. I don't think that's a big key piece to this. Okay, Shohei Ohtani's another piece. Okay, so Shohei has been really nowhere to be found. Not great, but between Shohei, Betts, and Freeman, all three of them were 0 for 12 last game with 6 strikeouts. Not good. Obviously, Sean Manaea threw a fucking gem, so let's not take that away. But again, they're going to have to show up here, especially against Severino. I think Severino's a better pitcher than Manaea. I think Manaea is a little bit more crafty. Severino's got a little bit more oomph behind it, a little bit more power. So different pitcher, but still a hard pitcher to come around. I know, obviously they weren't totally shut down. I think those top 3 guys were hurting a little bit, but obviously they still got Teoscar Hernandez. They got Will Smith, who played well, didn't do too bad, but it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. So those guys are going to have to show up and have to have competitive at bats, because if not, we're going to see something very similar to game 2. I think that's a big piece. That's a really big piece. Environment. Again, I think that, whether you're playing in LA or you're playing in New York, 2 really big games with a crowd can have an influence on the game. Though, because these are 2 of the biggest teams in baseball and 2 of the strongest teams, you got a fandom like the Mets who are fucking nuts. I mean, you look back on 2015 and how fucking crazy that was. I mean, it was nuts in 15, nuts in 14. It's going to have a big deal. But again, we're not talking about the Athletics who are going in and their eyes are going to look like they're this big because they've never played on a stage this big. It's the fucking Dodgers. These guys can handle this shit. They're not like nobodies. You know what I'm saying? But I will agree. This is going to be a big game. It's going to be an exciting game. The environment is going to be fucking electric. You're playing in New York in Citi Field. These guys want a fucking Subway Series, because let's be honest, if you look at anybody, everyone's like, we're facing the fucking Yankees in the World Series, either one of these guys. So they're like the Mets, the fandom, the crowd, everyone's going to be like, let's fucking go. You know what I'm saying? So it'll be interesting. I still don't think that it's going to be that big a factor. Again, if we're playing a low budget team, sure, maybe it's an issue, but I don't think so. I'm so fucking pumped to watch this game. The environment, it's going to be fucking exciting. And if you don't know, you better fucking tune in. Are the Mets the favorites now? I didn't read this last one because I read the first 3 and I was like, okay, we're going to talk about this because some of these are interesting and some of these don't make any fucking sense. But are the Mets the favorite? If you forget the names on both the front and backs of the jerseys for both, and if I told you one team has a clear starting pitcher advantage, the Mets. Has a home field advantage, the Mets. MVP candidate who's on an absolute heater, the Mets. Unlike their opponents, no issues, no injury issues, the Mets. Have won so many comeback games at their point their fans have been floating on air for 2 weeks, the Mets. Okay, Good point. I will say that is a very good point. I agree. They were probably on paper the underdogs going into the series. But when you do put those things into perspective, maybe not. Maybe they're the favorites at this point. And honestly, now that I'm kind of reading through this as I'm speaking about it, yeah, holy shit. They might actually be the favorites. I don't do sports betting. I don't look into all that shit, but I'd be definitely, if you're listening and you do sports bets and you're looking at all that, check it out. I'd be interested to see what the under over is. I'm assuming that the Mets are probably the favorite to win here, especially with the who's on the mound, the history of the guy on the mound, the lineups, the injuries. Yeah, maybe the Mets are, but again, and this is something I've said multiple times. You can't, and this is the same thing I kind of felt the way like early on in the season about the Astros. With a team that has this much power, though they may not be gelling, they may not be playing well at the moment, you can never just be like, whatever. You can't. And the Astros showed that. They fell short for obvious reasons in the wild card. I don't mean to talk about the Astros really, but it's the same concept. Like, because the Mets have an MVP guy on a heater, because their starting pitching is so strong, because the other side has a lot of injuries and they're missing a lot of guys, are you able to just be like, whatever? No. It's the fucking Dodgers, man. You're talking about Shohei Ohtani, Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, Will Smith, Teoscar Hernandez. Like, these guys they're no fucking joke. They're no slouch. They may be down, but I would never count them out. So maybe they are the favorite, and maybe they're a little nervous. The Dodgers are a little nervous, especially going 1-1 at home and now going into, again, a place that's going to be absolutely fucking rambunctious. Maybe a little weird. But again, Dodgers are nervous, sure. Are they worried about their performance? Maybe a little. But the Mets cannot count them out. Again, this is going to be a nut series. I'm super fucking psyched. I'm pumped. This is going to be crazy. Like I said, tonight, 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central, 6 o'clock on the West Coast. I think it's out. I don't know, whatever. Anyway, it's going to be nuts. Don't miss it, guys. If you're a baseball fan, like I said, this series is going to be crazy. And this, as a Yankee fan and guy who loves to watch the Yankees, I've been watching them all year. I have been like slightly more excited for this series. There's been more excitement. Like, the game last night was just kind of boring. Again, like I'm a huge Yankee fan. I'm pumped that they're crushing. That, there's a lot of stuff happening, but the games are very lackluster. Like I said, the Yankees control the minute they step on the field. The Yankees like have the Guardians by the throat, and they're not letting go. This is kind of like it can go either direction at any moment. It's going to be sick. So again, guys, thank you for listening. Thanks for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like, subscribe, comment. If you don't agree with what I'm saying, you think I'm an idiot, let me know. I'd love to. Let's talk baseball. You know what I'm saying? Follow me on Instagram. I got a lot of shorts coming on there, a lot of stuff on there. If you like me, if you follow me on TikTok, be sure to like, subscribe, comment, all that bullshit. Let you know when I get my posts up. All that stuff, super important. This episode should be out here within the next hour or so. I'm recording it here on the 16th at 12:50, so I should have it here up in a little bit. If you, wherever you listen to, rate the podcast. It helps a lot, helps with exposure, so please do that. But again, guys, thanks for listening, and we'll be back again tomorrow, so don't miss the next one.